What's up, guys? Welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm working on a BMW f30 320i. I was called up for it because the engine actually locked up, is what I was told. So it's not turning. Just that the battery's flat now. I wish I could record and so that you can hear what it sounds like when it's locked up. But the engine is not turning, and that is what we've been tasked to do on this car. So a quick background on the repair. As you all know, these BMW F30s are notorious for locking up. So the backstory was that it did seize up previously, and someone did do a repair, and they changed the oil pump, they changed the big end bearings, and I think also the oil pump chain as well. And that was the major work that was done on it. And I think he said he didn't drive it for more than a month, and then it seized up again. So we're gonna just check and see what's going on here. So so we can investigate further. So at this point, I was just beginning to strip. I'm removing obviously the positive cables. There's not a lot to loosen up if you're removing the engine, so it's just gonna be the coolant pipes. I just needed to get those out of the way because the plastic pipes from the radiator to the one underneath the oil cooler, as well as the aircon pipes as well. Needed to get those out. The car didn't have gas, so that was cool. And there's also a positive cable there in the junction box there that needed to be removed, as well as the engine mountings, the nuts that are securing the engine to the frame. So there's not a lot, because also the ECU is mounted on top of the engine, so all the harnesses from the ECU to the engine are just there. So you just need to unplug a few plugs and leave the rest on and remove the engine. So the next one will be to remove the bracket holding the exhaust to the car, as well as the two bolts that are securing that bracket. And then from there it's just to pull the exhaust out. So next up will be the heat shield, so that we can access the prop shaft, so we can remove that as well. So because the engine is not turning, I can't turn it to loosen the flex plate, so I'm just gonna remove it with the gearbox together, and then we're gonna see what's happening there. So let's just quickly strip everything now, and then we'll see what we're gonna get later on. Sorry about that, guys. I didn't notice that my battery phone was flat, so I lost some footage there at the end there. But I did manage to get the engine out. But as you saw, when I was trying to lift the engine up, it was going with the car. So I had an issue, but I did solve it because I just had to jack up the gearbox so that the engine can sit straight, so that when I lift it, it can go out of the engine mounting studs. So that was the issue that I was having there. So the engine was actually sitting at an angle and pulling on the threads on the engine mounting, so I couldn't get it out. But I did manage to get it out, and I just wanted to drain the oil right now, but there was so little oil that came out, and I was a bit confused myself, as you can see. But yeah, man, we'll see. So I'm pretty sure I'm gonna find a lot of things inside there, given that there's so much oil that came out, so little oil. So there's also a bit of shiny things as well on the oil as well. So yeah, right now we're gonna strip the sump and then see what we have on the inside.
Always got the vibe, got the vibe, got the vibe, got the vibe.
Yo, this is not good at all. This is not good at all. So we're gonna carry on stripping. We're gonna remove the oil pump, and hopefully we might get the engine to turn so that we can remove the gearbox, and then at least try to put this engine on the stand. And yeah, let's tear it down and see what happened. But I'm really doubtful that we might salvage it. Excuse me. But I'm really doubtful that we might salvage it. Based on that, this thing, a lot of components in the engine, they need oil. So you can imagine if your big ends and your, let's just say the big ends and those metal filings were from the big end bearings. So you can imagine what on the upper side, like on your cams and your, especially on the intake side, the one with the Valvetronic, you can imagine those components, if they were running without oil, then what might also happen to them, because then you might find a situation where you'll build the engine, do the conrods, do the main bearings, do the crank, and then put it together, only to find that now your camshafts also had damage, and you have a lot of cam timing faults that just won't go away, and that will be due to also the camshaft being worn out due to the lack of lubrication. So that's also a factor that you also need to consider. So that's why most of the times when you find a situation where the engine has seized, especially on these kind of engines, it's always best to just replace the whole engine, because if you're gonna go ahead and do the crank, replace the oil pump, then you have to go and buy a camshaft as well. So that's gonna be a huge expense. So in my opinion, I'd say it's easier to just replace the engine than to go on the headache of buying all these expensive parts, because I mean, BMW, some people say it stands for bring my wallet. So yeah, it can get really expensive when you're rebuilding these engines. That's why for the most part, the common failure when this engine seizes, it will most likely be caused on the oil pump failure, which will affect the big ends. You normally replace the big ends, change the oil pump, change the timing chain kit, and then you're set to go, hopefully for, I don't know, another year or so before it starts doing the same thing. Because like I said, this guy's been to 3 different mechanics for the same problem, and yeah, now I'm the 4th mechanic, and this is what I find. So for me, I don't think it's viable to rebuild it. Yeah, considering all the history that it has, for me, I don't think it's going to be worth it, because if I really do, then I'll be carrying the burden of those 3 mechanics, and God knows what they also did on the inside. So yeah, man, it's a tough decision to make. It's tough, but yeah, hopefully the customer will understand, and it might work out cheaper for him to replace the engine, and it also saves time. So yeah, but we'll see. We'll weigh the options and see what he decides to do. And yeah, but for now, I'm gonna remove the oil pump, and then so we can see what happened on the inside. So now I've removed the oil pump, and I was just checking for any discoloration on the crank or the con rods, and you can see on this one there's a bit of discoloration there, and a bit on this one as well. So I don't know about the ones that are on top, because I can't turn the engine right now. But I just removed the oil pump. I'll get to that later on. But now I just wanted to see if we might get this crank to turn. Well, I can tell you now, I don't think a torque wrench was used to tighten these caps, because they just, one was hard, one was soft, one was extremely hard. So I'm already suspecting a lot there. Let me just get my other glove. Look at that. All the material is gone. And I think they also put what you call a tin, slice of tin in between the cap and the bearing to achieve a bit much more clearance so that the oil can go through. It's pretty strange, but you can see how bad this thing is. I don't know if you can see it. You can see how bad it is. I found this tin in between there, so yeah. This is for number 2, so I'm just gonna put them accordingly. This con rod is fucked. Sorry for the strong language, but there's no other way to explain it. This is the number 3 con rod. And you can see the bearings have actually melted onto the crankshaft, so ouch, if is what I can say. I think now at this point, I think the engine should be able to turn. What do you think? Yeah, I think it should be able to turn. Let me just try it now.
Yeah, so there you have it, guys. BMW F30 N20 engine that has seized up. This is the kind of damage that you should expect to find. And yeah, man, the solution is either you replace the engine or you rebuild the engine. But we're gonna see what we're gonna do with this one. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe. Click on the notification bell to get notified every time I post a video. And thank you for watching.